Kevin Trudeau here, everything they don't want you to know about. Thanks for joining me. We have as a very special guest, David Icke, whose newest book is called Human Race, Get Off Your Knees. Human Race, Get Off Your Knees. It is brand new, it is hot off the presses, and it is available now. David Icke is my guest calling in from the UK. David, thanks very much for being with me.
Pleasure, Kevin.
What's the website, by the way? Because I know this book is just brand new, so it's probably not in the stores yet, but if people want to check it out, where do they get it?
It's davidicke.com.
davidicke.com. You said that too fast. Yep. I was going to write that down. I'm going to say it 9 times. davidicke.com. davidicke.com, or you can go to our website, ktradionetwork.com, and there'll be a banner up there to get that. Tell me about the book. What's new in it? Because all of your books talk about New World Order, One World Government. What's new in this one? What's the new stuff?
Oh, my goodness. Where to start? The most important thing to understand what's happening in the world, whether it's anything from banking scams to manipulated wars, to why they put certain stuff in the food and why they put certain stuff in the water, why they want microchips, which is far more extensive than just electronic tagging. We need to understand the nature of reality itself. And thanks to religion and concrete mainstream science, rigid academia, we don't, in the mainstream, understand or appreciate even the themes of what reality is. And so I go in great detail into that. And by understanding how reality works and how the body really works and what the body really is, I explain in connected detail, perhaps the most extraordinary part of the book. There's so much new stuff in it, and that's that I'm saying the moon is not what it seems to be, that it's a control system for the Earth. And it's funny, Kevin, you know, we're born into the world and we accept the way things are when we kind of start to become conscious and look around as, well, the way things are. And we take so much for granted, not least the moon. You know, it keeps coming up at night, and oh, there's the moon. Oh, it said full moon tonight. Oh, look, there's a new moon. And we kind of accept it by default. But while I was writing the book, I started looking at the moon in many, many and various ways. And it is absolutely extraordinary. It shouldn't be there, mate. It shouldn't be there. The physics don't work out. Its size in relation to the Earth doesn't work out. And then when I started going along the road of oh God, got a frog in the throat. Going along the road of investigating this in terms of, if you like, scientific information, I then started looking at the ancient accounts and legends about the moon, particularly the Zulu legends, which I found to be extraordinarily accurate in so many areas over the years, and they absolutely mirror what I'm saying here, that the moon is not actually what it seems. It's some kind of hollowed-out planetoid which operates as a control system. People listening to this program, many people I'm sure have come across this movie, They Live, the John Carpenter movie, which is actually based on the fact that on the top of a television tower in the middle of this city, it was broadcasting a frequency which stopped the people seeing what was really there. When some rebels developed some special glasses to see what they couldn't normally see with their eyes, they realized that when you were looking all around you with your eyes at Coca-Cola advertisements and go to Jamaica for a vacation and stuff, actually what was really there was subliminal, saying stay asleep, don't question authority, obey authority, and all the rest of it. And they realized also that there were non-humans hiding behind human form. And because of this frequency, it stopped the people decoding that non-human level. So when they looked at them, they seemed to be human. And when I first watched that movie in the 90s, it came out about 88, and It was produced, directed, virtually everything on it was done, apart from the acting by John Carpenter, who, when you follow his movie history, I mean, this guy knows a great deal about what's going on behind the veil. But the more, when I first saw it, I thought, this is really very, very symbolic of what's going on. But the more I've understood about the moon, the more accurate they live becomes, because if you take that frequency dish on the top of that television tower in the movie symbolically, and you make that the moon, then I think we're getting very close to the truth of how humans have been connected to a collective mind, like a hive mind, and a lot of the herd-like tendencies of humans come from this. And I go into the book, it's 700 pages nearly and 355,000 words, so there's a lot of backup evidence and facts and figures and everything in it. But it's becoming clearer to me how the human mind has been hijacked by this system.
Now, it's interesting because this book describes that the moon, and as you say, the moon revolves around the Earth, but if you look at the physics, it can't do that. It can't just, it rotates but imperfect so that you never see the other side.
Yes.
I mean, what you've done here is documented the fact that the Earth rotating, the moon rotating around the Earth, the dark side never being seen from Earth with a telescope or whatever, that physically can't happen. It just doesn't make any sense. And so you're then showing that the moon itself is actually either some type of large spacecraft, like in the movie The Death Star with Star Wars, or something.
Yeah, very, very, very symbolic of what I'm talking about.
And if that's the case, are there beings living there inside that craft?
Inside the moon. Funnily enough, what's happened to me so often over the years, it's become just a recurring theme, and it certainly happened with regard to this, is that I get an insight about something out of nowhere. Like I sat down on this very chair I'm sitting in now when I was writing the book, and something I'm very familiar with, the whole atmosphere in the room changed. And suddenly this big, powerful thought went through my mind, which said the moon is not what we think it is. The moon's not real. The moon is a construct. And I'm thinking, what? I had pondered on it over the years, but then I'm thinking here, where does this come from? So that I then just, expecting to find absolutely nothing, typed in a few keywords in relation to this into a search engine, and up immediately came a book called Who Built the Moon by two researchers who look at the moon from the perspective of the physics, the mathematics, the extraordinary mathematical and geometrical connections between the Earth, the moon, and the sun. It doesn't work with any of the other planets of the solar system, just those three. The sun being a star, of course, and also the anomalies. There are extraordinary anomalies. As one scientist said, the moon shouldn't be there. The only thing you can say about the moon is it must be observational error. We have a satellite. Look, we're a small planet, right? But we have a satellite that's bigger than Pluto. As one scientist said, if the Earth's field did attract a satellite, and there's no certainty that it would, given the power of the Earth's gravitational field. But if it did, you would think that through the physics that it would be maybe 30 miles across, that kind of size, not very big at all. Our moon is 2,160 miles in diameter. In fact, some scientists don't call it a planet-satellite relationship, but a planet-planet, dual-planet relationship. And it shouldn't be there. And again, when you look at where it is so perfectly positioned that it is from the Earth the same size as the sun when looked at from the Earth. This is where we get the full solar eclipse from, etc. And in the book, I document a stream of these anomalies. And there were two scientists, I came across this as well, from the Soviet Academy of Sciences in the 1970s, who wrote a detailed article in a magazine called Sputnik saying that the moon could not be a natural body and it had to be a hollowed-out planetoid. That's what they described it. And again, one of the great ways that we are limited in our understanding of what we're dealing with is that we have our sense of possibility suppressed by being told constantly what is and is not possible. If you can get people to believe the limits of possibility or the limits of technological possibility that we see in our everyday lives in what we call the public arena, then immediately you've disconnected them from what's actually going on. First of all, even on a human scale, as you well know, Kevin, technology in the secret underground bases and secret projects is massively ahead of anything we see in the public arena. Yeah. But when you go into the non-human level, you're going light years ahead even of that. So, if people look at what I'm saying about this hollowed-out planetoid, which they've taken control of its movement through the technology that they have, and we're looking at it from the perspective of what humans can do in the public arena, then obviously the reaction is going to be, "You're crazy, man." But if we open our minds and think, well, that's not what these guys are dealing with and working with, then you can start to see that what is impossible to us is not actually impossible.
David, stay with me. We're going to take a short break. The book is The Human Race, Get Off Your Knees by David Icke, and you can go to our website, ktradionetwork.com. There's a banner ad for David Icke, so just go to ktradionetwork.com and click on David Icke's banner ad. It's a brand new book, Human Race, Get Off Your Knees. David, let me ask you, if people live in this thing, they're aliens, right? They're not humans.
Right. I'm saying this from my modern research, but also the ancient legends and accounts like the Zulus talk about the reptilian race, the dragon race, the serpent race living inside the moon. And I think that, this is a thing that, what we need to do if we're going to understand the situation that we're in and the reality itself is we need blank sheets of paper to start out, because once you have preconceived ideas, then you're editing possibility all the time. And I just let the evidence direct me in wherever it takes me, and that's all I've done for 20 years. And just because we live on the outside of a planet doesn't mean that that's not the only way you can live in or on a planet. It may not even be the prime way. And I think what we're going to find is there's a lot going on inside these planets and inside these moons that we've written off as, this atmosphere is no good for life and all the rest of it. But actually inside something different is going on. And ever since, or even since this book came out, which, as you say, is just now, and it went to the presses, this whole stream of information and connections has gone on. And it's increasingly obvious to me that this moon situation is also connected to Saturn. And there's a reason why so many of the ancient religions, including Judaism and by implication biblical Christianity, is based on Saturn worship. And the theme and the connections also starts to point a new significance to the fact that Saturn has so many moons. There's all those moons. And what seems to be the situation is this. There's a modus operandi that keeps repeating. And it's this, basically. They move these moons in to target planets, and of course, when they move the moon into a particular position, as with our moon, it fundamentally changes life on that planet. Basically, it destroys the society that was there before. And when you look at the constant ancient accounts around the world, in every culture you can imagine, there's one of many common themes, but a real prime common theme is that there was great catastrophe on the earth, symbolized in the Bible as the Great Flood and all the rest of it. And one of the common recurring themes of these catastrophe stories is that the earth turned over. Now, the earth is at the angle it is, and it spins at the speed it does because of where the moon is. If that moon moved in, then the earth would flip to an extent. And then we start to look at what that means. It means that our very relationship to time, which is the way we measure it, is the Earth's relationship to the sun, etc., day and night, and all the rest of it, is actually controlled from the moon. Because the moon's there, this is where month come from. Month comes from moonth. The woman's menstrual cycle is a menstrual cycle, and the seasons, we have the seasons that we do because of the angle of the Earth in relation to the sun. And interestingly, the ancient accounts talk about the fact that the serpent gods, as they refer to them, many of them do anyway, actually taught humans about the seasons. So this is a common theme. So my question is, why would anyone have to teach humans about the seasons if generations of humans, they got quite au fait, thank you very much, with the seasons that they've been experiencing, through a long period of time. But clearly, if the moon came in at some point, then the seasons would have just been created. And when I contacted Credo Mutwa, the official historian of the Zulu Nation, a great friend of mine, and I was putting this together, I didn't say to him, I found all this about the moon, and I think this and I think that. I don't do that with people. I don't want to kind of get them, to go along with something just because I'm saying it. I just said to him, can you tell me any Zulu legends about the moon? And I nearly fell off my blooming chair, because he said, oh yes, he said, we symbolize the moon as an egg. Why? Because we say that it was hollowed out, and was rolled across the heavens hundreds of generations ago by two brothers in the Zulu stories called Umpanku and Wawani. And they are described in reptilian terms with, quote, scaly skin like a fish. And they were called the Water Brothers. Now, what you take that, Kev, and apply it to the Sumerian tablets, which describe in the area of the world we now call Iraq, the story of the Anunnaki, a non-human race who were led by two brothers. They called them Enki and Enlil, and Enki particularly was associated with water. Basically, they're mirrors of each other, these stories.
David, I'm going to have to cut you off, but I think everyone out there is now kind of on the edge of their chair, wanting the end of the story. But David, Thank you so much. The book is called Human Race, Get Off Your Knees by David Icke. It's available at ktradionetwork.com. Go to our website. There's a banner ad there. David, again, thanks very much, mate, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.
Yeah, pleasure, Kevin. See you, mate. Bye.
All right. Ciao.
We don't, in the mainstream, understand or appreciate even the themes of what reality is. And so I go in great detail into that. And by understanding how reality works, and how the body really works and what the body really is. I explain in stuff in the food and why they put certain stuff in the water, why they want microchips, which is far more extensive than just electronic tagging. We need to understand the nature of reality itself. And thanks to religion and concrete mainstream science, rigid academia.
Tell me about the book. What's new in it? Because all of your books talk about New World Order, One World Government. What's new in this one? What's the new stuff?
Oh, my goodness. Where to start? The most important thing to understand what's happening in the world, whether it's anything from banking scams to manipulated wars to why they put certain... Kevin?
What's the website, by the way? Because I know this book is just brand new, so it's probably not in the stores yet. But if people want to check it out, where do they get it?
It's davidicke.com.
davidicke.com. You said that too fast. Yep. I was going to write that down. I'm going to say it 9 times. davidicke.com. davidicke.com. Or you can go to our website, ktradionetwork.com, and there'll be a banner up there to get. Kevin Trudeau here. Everything they don't want you to know about. Thanks for joining me. We have as a very special guest, David Icke, whose newest book is called Human Race, Get Off Your Knees. Human Race, Get Off Your Knees. It is brand new. It is hot off the presses, and it is available now. David Icke is my guest calling in from the UK. David, thanks very much for being with me.
Pleasure.